All right, welcome back. Got another match review for you on this guy. This is the Sig P320 Legion chopped down into a compact size for CCP division. I think it's going to be a pretty good one. Actually, I really like it. I shot the 2023 Healy Arms South Mountain Showdown with this last weekend. That's what the stages are for that you're going to see here in a minute. So we're going to give you a good look at this, and its brother. It's got two of them. And yeah, take a look at the stages, and we'll come back and get a little closer look at this. And at the end, we'll come back with just a few pros and cons about doing this, because this was quite an endeavor to do. It's not an easy thing to make happen. Okay, here we are, just taking a look over the top of the gun. As you can see, this is set up for a left-handed person. I'm a left-handed person. Um, so we've got the Go Guns gas pedal. I always want to say Killer Innovations, but it's not Killer Innovations trigger. It's an Armory Craft trigger. On the inside, here we've got the Gray Guns guts. The other side is pretty much just stock 320. The slide is a Pro Cut slide, and on top we've got Dawson's, as I put on everything. Size-wise, this is pretty comparable to a Glock 19. This is not a Glock 19, it's a Glock 44, but it's pretty close to what a Glock 19 size is, I think. Anyway, I'm not going to go by a 19 just so I can show what the size difference is. But yeah, it's pretty much the Glock 19 size comparison of a 320 is. The 320 compact. Yeah, height is it's almost identical. So there's that. Take a look at a few more stages. We'll come back and I'll tell you who did this work, because I did not. I didn't chop this myself. Or stipple it myself. I had somebody do it, and they did a really good job. They did such a good job that I had them do two, because you always got to have a backup to the backup. All right, so those are the stages from the match down in Arizona. It was a really good match. Enjoyed it a lot. The CCP gun did really well for me. This isn't a gun that it's not new. I've had it for a while, but yeah, so the match went well. I ended up in 5th place overall, which I'm happy with. There are a ton of good shooters in Arizona. I've been down there a few times, and not just Arizona. They all come from the West Coast, kind of all ends up in Arizona during this time of year. I think it's because it's the only good place to shoot on the West Coast during this time of year. California is never hospitable, so nobody goes there. But yeah, ton of good shooters down there. I went down there last year twice for Healy and for Arizona State, and just got my butt kicked. So the goal for this going into this match was just to do better than last year. Ended up doing a lot better than last year, so I'm happy with that. Like I said, 5th overall, 2nd in CCP behind the Distinguished Master, who's really good, and high law enforcement. So happy about that. And under the new IDPA rules, I got a bump. It's kind of, they decreased the number from before if you were first place, you had to beat, next 9 people, and second place, 18, and so on and so forth. But this one, and that's per class, not per division. So this one, it's now just 5 people. And so there was, which always was hard in like Bug and CCP, the divisions that, I shoot. There just wasn't very many people in those classes or your class. So especially when you get up to the expert or sharpshooter, maybe levels, there's just never enough. So with the 5, I got the match bump. The 2022 rules, it's now 5 match bump to master. So excited about that. Now that I'm done with that, I don't have to shoot CCP anymore. Just kidding. I really like CCP, so I'm probably going to continue to do that. But I might run a little ESP and SSP this year too, so we'll see. But moving on to the pros and cons for this 320 Legion compact. Pros, it's super heavy. So it's 36 ounces. The weight limit in CCP is 38 ounces. So you're right there near the top of the, this is going to be as heavy as a compact 1911 or whatever they call it, commander size. I don't know. I'm not a 1911 guy. So you're right there. If you put, I know they make some metal base pads. You could put a small base pad on this and probably make it fit the box and get right at 38. But 36 is close enough for me. And the weight coupled with the power factor for CCP now being 105, you can really get this thing to be flat shooting. As you can see in the video, like that's not all just because I have like an amazing grip. There's a lot of like, 105 power factor ammo, or this is 105, 108. But yeah, anyway, with the new power factor and the weight of this thing, it's really flat shooting. So maintained in this build is the tungsten weight, as you can see in the back of this. When I had this made, so I didn't chop this, I had somebody else do it. When this was made though, the guy told me, he's Steady Grind Design. I found him on Instagram. I don't think he's doing the work anymore. I think he just, I don't know what his situation is, but I don't think he's doing it anymore. He told me, I don't think we're going to be able to keep that weight in there when we chop it down. And I said, well, okay, it's tungsten, so it'll be heavier than the plastic one anyway. And but when he emailed me back, he said, hey, it's in there. And so yeah, 36 ounces for a CCP gun is pretty heavy. The trigger's as good as you're going to get in 320. I mean, that's not really dependent on the size of the gun. So it's the same FCU that I use in a bunch of them. I don't know, I have a few 320s, but the Gray Guns, Guts, and the Armory Craft trigger is kind of my jam when it comes to 320s. Other than that, it's the only 320 of the AXG, the aluminum, or the tungsten TXG frames that you can get to fit in the box. So you have to chop it to get it to fit in the CCP box. The Sig is making a 320 TXG frame X-Carry Legion. God, that's a lot to say. But it won't fit in the box. It's too long. So I think the only way to make it fit would be to buy the X-Carry Legion and then chop the grip to be, because these are 15 round mags, or not the 17 round mags. So if you're hoping to just go to the store and buy one of these, you can't. So that kind of sucks. And that's getting into the, there is also a 320 compact that will fit in the CCP box, but it's plastic. And come on, bro. It's not 2014 anymore. Competition guns don't have to be made of plastic. If they are, and you're super badass who, I don't need all that heavy weight. Like, okay, cool. You're a better guy than me. Which, yeah, cool. Moving on to the cons a little bit. Like I said, it's not produced by Sig. So I bought 2 of the Legion TXG frames. I don't know if they're not Legion, if they're just frames, right? But anyway, I had those chopped. So it's not something that's made by Sig. So that is, it's going to be cost prohibitive probably for some people. Another con, you lose the capability to add the magwell. So the magwell screws into the bottom on the TXG frame, but you're chopping that off. So I went through like a bunch of different magwells just trying to see, like, does this one line up, or does this one line up? And I was going to like epoxy one on, but I couldn't. There was just nothing I could find that would fit it. So That just is what it is. There is a little bit of room, so if you can find a magwell that fits, you can, or that it fits around the opening, you can make it happen. The other thing with the magwell is that this doesn't really apply to me. I have practice, but some guys like really beat the hell out of the mag opening here. And this one is a little beat up. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, if you're one of those dudes who is just hammering this away on this thing, then to replace it, you can't replace the magwell. You have to replace the whole grip. So that's going to be, you're gonna have to buy another one, which is $300, and then somebody to chop it, which is $150. So that's like a $450 investment just for the frame. So that's a lot. Another con, not really of the gun, but the guy who did mine, Steady Grind Design, is no longer in business. That's a recent development, and so sorry to see him go. He did really good work. His stipple work on here is really good. But yeah, I gotta imagine there's somebody else that can do it. I can't do it. Somebody who's better with machining or gun parts or stuff like that. It's not something I can do. Probably the most significant con is that it's an expensive thing to do, especially if you're going to do two. Gotta have a backup gun. If you're going to competitions and you don't have a backup gun, then you're probably going to be the guy whose gun goes down because, bad luck and trouble. So like I said, $300 for just one of the frames, probably another $150. I'm going under the idea that if you bought the X-Carry Legion, it has the threaded barrel, you'd have to get a non-threaded barrel because it won't fit the box with the threaded barrel. So you're looking at $300 for the frame, $100 to $150 to chop it. You're gonna need 15 round mags, so maybe another $200 to $300 just in magazines because Sig mags aren't cheap. A barrel, $100, $150. So you're looking at about a $1,500 gun to shoot in a division that isn't really all that populated. I know that's ironic coming from the bug guy, but yeah, it just might be prohibitive for some people, unless you're like me. I always told myself, like, when I got into, so I worked at a gun store a long time ago, and I was like just buying any gun that I thought was cool. And then I got to the point where I was like, I have all these guns, I don't need all this shit. And so I sold it all, and I was like, I'm only going to buy guns that I'm going to compete with. And so I did that for a while, and I swore I wasn't going to be the guy who was building guns for no reason. But
you have become the very thing you swore to destroy.
I've been doing a lot of that lately. So yeah, overall thoughts, I don't really see this catching on as something that would be, a widespread the gun for CCP. It's expensive, and for $1,500, there's probably just a gun you can buy that fits your hand or fits you or that you like better. For $1,500, you're probably cheaper. So there's probably somebody out there who's going to go, well, why did you do that? You could have just shot the plastic one. Yeah, you're right, guy. But yeah, that's about it. Final thoughts, the match was good. I go down there once or twice a year. I take the girls with me, and we have a nice vacation. So we did that again this year, and it was awesome. So if you have a chance to get down to Arizona and shoot a match, do it. Yeah, that's about it. Check out the playlist. There's more match reviews up there for bug guns, CCP guns, and we'll see whatever else I start shooting. And then last thing, if you have the time, go to our website. It's www.dz-214.com. And there's the list of the charities. There's a little description of the charities that we sponsor to the sports. They're all veterans charities. A bunch of us are veterans, so it's good causes. If you have the time, go check that out and give what you can. We appreciate your help with that. And yeah, see you on the range.